Hey friend, today we are going to, experiment with some spices to see if we can use them to make some watercolor paints. I have seen it done before, I have not tried it yet, so this will be a fun experiment for all of us. Great thing, I think, for like the upcoming holidays. If you wanted to even do this with kids, I'm sure that it would be super fun and probably easy to clean up. So what I have is I've got a little piece of 5x7 watercolor paper. I've got a couple of brushes, nothing fancy. I've got some styrofoam cups. You could probably use bowls. This is just what I had in the studio. And then I've got several different spices, and these are the ones that I had in the studio. So I've got alkamet root powder. I've got paprika. I have beetroot powder. I have ground cinnamon, and I have ginger, but this one doesn't have a label. So this is ginger. Okay, so we're going to try each and every one of those. I also have a ceramic cup because I don't have enough styrofoam cups to accommodate all 5 spices. So we're going to roll with it. Before I started the video, I started boiling some hot water on my hot plate here in the studio in a tea kettle. So I've got my hot tea kettle water, and that is what we're going to use to mix with the spices to make the watercolor paint. So all right, one thing I did forget was an actual hot pad. I'm hoping that this will be enough. All right, so to start, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a styrofoam cup, and I'm going to choose one of these lovely spices, and I'm going to grab some spoons. Okay, and then I'm just going to take some of the spice, and I'm going to stick it in my styrofoam cup here, and then I am going to pour some hot water in there. Hopefully not a whole bunch. Since this is watercolor, obviously the amount of water that we use matters. So, oh, that's a fun smell. This is paprika. So I'm just kind of moving it around to get it a little bit absorbed. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna dip straight in here. It looks like it's gonna be a little grainy, so I might have to add some more water. Let's see what it does. So paprika. Ooh. If we could get it less grainy. Oh, you know what? I forgot the strainer. So if you want yours to be not grainy, you probably could use a strainer or cheesecloth. I don't think that I brought any of that out here today, but hold on, I may be able to find a strainer. Nope, no strainer, but I do have an organza bag, so I'm curious as to whether this would work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to pour my paprika through my organza bag. Let's see if that gives me, oh yeah, nice, like straining tea. Aren't you glad that I didn't test this out before I came on my video so that you could see all this fun extra? Okay, so now I've strained it. Let's see if there's a difference. So we've got the grainy one. Let me grab some paper towels. Okay, so we've got this grainy one from before we strained it. And now I've got this nice liquid because it's been strained by our fantastic organza bag. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, that's a nice little burnt orange color. A lot less stuff in it. That's nice. Okay. Well, so now we know we can strain them out. and it looks better. So I'm gonna go clean this up and come back to show you some more colors, I guess. Okay, the next one we're gonna try is beetroot powder. It's this really pretty rose pink color when it's in powder form, and mine's a little old, obviously, because it's got this big old clump in the middle of it. That's okay, we're gonna work around it. And why do I have these in the studio? Because I used to make soap, and this actually helps color the soaps in a natural way. So that's how I know they're gonna produce some fun colors for us to work with today. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna kind of just move it around. I think I might need some more beetroot powder. This stuff is not nearly as grainy as the paprika, so it's a lot more of a powder. So we may not even need to strain it. We're gonna try it and find out for sure. Okay. So I'll just dump that in my water, and we'll get our brush. And let's see. Oh yeah, that's not super grainy right out the gate. That's pretty nice. It does have quite a few little particles in it, but not nearly as many as the paprika had in it. So if we strain that, I'm sure it would help a little. Let's see. Take this, run it through the Canva bag. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Ooh, almost got away from me there. Okay, got that strained. A nice colored stain on my fingers, so must be a cool looking color when we're ready. So let's see here. Oh yeah, very nice looking, well, like a rose pink, kind of like what we saw in the powder. Very cool. All right, so I'm gonna push this guy aside, and again I'm gonna go clean out my little styrofoam guy here. All right, so the next one I've got here is the alkamet root powder, which I'm actually kind of excited to see what this one turns out as, because in soap, whenever you put this in soap, it turns out to be almost like a, it's hard to explain, like a light purpley blue color almost. So it'll be super interesting to see what color it turns out as. In powder form, it really looks like a brown. So let's see. It might be a little bit more of a challenge to get it to go to. It's got a very not so fun smell to it. All that dust. I can't tell if you can tell, but there's a bunch of dust coming off of it. Just a lot of very strong odor to it. So and it was very powdery as well. So trying to get it mixed in here before I, whoops. Well, it kind of just splattered on our page there, so we could just work with that. All right, let me grab some, and we'll see how grainy it is when it's not flying from my cup. All right. Oh, like not pretty watered down. So maybe I added too much water, but it is kind of like a, almost like a brown color. Go ahead and strain it through like we have the others to see if there's a big difference. Very watery. Okay. All right, well, and the stain that's coming off of it onto my paper towel is definitely brown. You can see the brown. So it should be brown. Oh, wrong brush. When we use it, let's see. Oh, forgot to get rid of the other. So let's get that. Okay. Yeah, it's probably a really nice dark brown color when it has more pigment, more of the spice and less of the water. It's definitely got quite a bit of water in there, so that's kind of on me. But if we added more of the powder, I'm sure we could get a better, darker brown. I'm not sure how brown we could get, but darker. All right, let's see what the next one brings. Okay, this time I've got ginger root, ground ginger, which a lot of people probably have in their kitchens. So I love the smell of ginger. It's such a nice smell. I'm gonna try and make some of these little crumbles a little bit smaller. Maybe they'll be easier to get them in with the water. And we'll try to not add a whole host of water this time. Maybe that much. See if that works out. All right, so we've got our ginger root. Let's see what it turns out to look like. Nice, like mustard yellow, but really light. Mostly the little particles are coloring it more than the other is. So I'm kind of down to my cup here. So let me run this through. Not much powder left for that. Let's see what it stains as. Yeah, a nice tannish mustard yellow color on my thing here, and then we'll just pick it up and see what happens. Okay, yeah, so very, very, very light. Like to the point where you probably can barely see it. It's a very, very light mustard yellow color, but I bet that you could probably layer it pretty well. So if I took maybe over the top of the paprika that was not strained, kind of add a little bit of yellow to it. So I bet it'd be a great layering one. Maybe not so much a great base color, but good at layering possibly. All right, got one more we're going to test out. Okay, last but not least, we're going to try our ground cinnamon. I think one of the perks of doing this, you could probably do cloves too. One of the perks of doing this is you could pick a bunch of holiday scents like cinnamon and cloves and nutmeg and use them, and I bet your artwork for a short time at least would smell like those spices, those holiday spices. So cinnamon is a little bit of a beast, it looks like. So if you ever tried to mix cinnamon and water, it does like to float and separate and be a little bit of a pain. Okay, so got the cinnamon going. Any ideas what the color of the cinnamon's gonna be? Guesses? Any? All right, let's find out. So I'm gonna do it right here. Oh, a nice looking brown color, like a brownish red. Definitely a different brown than our alchemist powder was. So I'm gonna go ahead and strain it out and see if that makes a difference. It seems to have made a difference for every other one, so stands to reason that it would take some of those particles out. You could probably do this with tea. I know you can paint watercolor with coffee. I've also seen people take fruit and mash it in like a mortar and pestle, which is that bowl that's got the thing that smashes. If you don't know what a mortar and pestle is. Oh yeah, so that's another one that just, it creates this really light, almost like the ginger did, a light version of that, almost like a burnt sienna color. So, but anyway, I've seen people smash fruits in a mortar and pestle and then take those, just the fruit juice that came off of it, and use that as paint. I've also seen people use the mortar and pestle to grind up some like spinach or local flowers, and then add water to it, and then the colors from those flowers or leaves or whatever you're using will actually come off in the watercolor too. So a lot of great ways to use natural things to create artwork. You can also store these. So if I wanted to keep these guys, and I'm sure that as time goes on, they would probably start to dissolve. Whatever particles are left in there would probably start to dissolve a little bit better. So you could probably just keep a hold of these, label them. They shouldn't dry out if they're in a nice container, and you could probably even use them as stain if you wanted to dye some yarn, or in fact, I know you can use it to dye yarn as long as you're using vinegar to help bind it. So, but yeah, so let me know what you think. What have you tried to use as paint that wasn't really paint? I would love to hear about it. Send me a message or leave a comment, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Keep creating.